That's fucked. Holy shit.
Oh my god, there's so many of them. Oh, there it is! Fuck!
Let's take a look at what a century of real science has taught us about the Big Bang, so far at least. To understand singularity, let's start with how a black hole is formed. Stars keep in shape because of a balance between heat energy, which forces them to expand, and gravity, which forces them to contract. As a large star uses up the last of its fuel, heat builds up to the point where it explodes. Yes, here we can use the word explode. What remains gives in to gravity and collapses in on itself. As this ball of gas continues to collapse, it becomes so dense and the force of gravity becomes so great that even the atoms get crushed, and you get a neutron star. It's a vicious circle. The more matter is crushed and compressed by gravity, the smaller it gets and the more intense the gravitational field. And the more intense the gravitational field, the more matter is crushed and compressed. If the star is massive enough, this process keeps going until everything gets shrunk to a small point, which is so dense that even light can't overcome gravity and escape. This has a number of effects. Einstein discovered that space and time are part of the same fabric, and that gravity warps both space and time. If we could see that effect in a planet orbiting the Sun, space would look something like this. We'll put it into 2 dimensions to make it easier to visualize. A black hole is so much denser than our Sun that it warps space-time to an extreme degree. Now, scale that up to not just a star, but an entire universe collapsing in on itself. Space is warped to an infinite degree. What about time? Well, Einstein showed that time is also affected by gravity. It slows down the closer it is to massive objects, because the gravitational field is more intense. So in infinitely dense singularity, time would slow infinitely, in other words, to a point where it stops completely. So it's nothing even remotely close to a spinning record made of vinyl. Singularity has no particles. It effectively has no space, because space has been warped into an infinitely small point, and no time. Is that nothing? Well, unless you can get your head around a universe consisting of no space and no time, you can pretty much call it whatever you want. But just reducing all this, which are calculations related to the state of the universe 1 billion trillionth of a second after it started, to popped out of nothing, suggests that you have no clue how to debunk any of the physics, so it's easier to coin a term that a 5-year-old can understand and then have a stab at debunking that.
Woo, woo, woo. Hello, my beauties and bees. Good morning. Good morning. We are live from the Hive. It's 8:39 already this morning. I was a little late getting in here, like I said in the chat. I got distracted by lip gloss. You can't blame me, but my lips look cute. I switched which color I had on them like while I was running my opening. But I digress. Good morning and welcome to the Hive. Welcome to life and Hive. I'm gonna take my shoes off. I don't know why I still have them on. Had to go out and get my donuts. We did get donuts. I got donuts this morning for that house, and I got a jelly one right here, but I haven't eaten it yet. And I got coffee, but they did not respect my request for them to put cream in there. So it's creamless coffee. I've been adding milk to it from the fridge. So we'll see how that goes. Batting 1,000 already this morning. So happy to see everybody. Let me go through and say hi, because without Chris sending the Sci-Fi Saturday crew to storm the gates, we've got a few enough people in here that I can actually say hey to everybody. So Pragmatic Crystal in here bright and early dropping the links. My Unfinished Journey. Try to pop by when you can. We love you. Thank you so much for promoting my links across social media, especially on Twitter, since I don't really get on Twitter anymore. One thing I use Twitter for now is to use the messenger system, and only for people who I don't know how else to get a hold of besides on Twitter. Most people I know have moved over to Blue Sky. A lot of my UK friends are really into WhatsApp. I just started using it because Katie wanted to send me some bug pictures. But Stool and Robbie are always talking about WhatsApp too. So, Anyway, I got distracted. I was saying hi to everybody and good morning. Who else do we got? Yeah. Right-handed Sith, green schemers, dreamers, and blasphemers. Yes, all of the above. Ember stomping through the side chat with the Bigfoot footprints. You can make Bigfoot footprints too if you decide to become a member of the Hive. You can stomp your Sasquatch feet all over my side chat. We will cheer you on. Leaving Bigfoot tracks is how we do in the Hive. There's Bugbot being a nuisance. Deep Arcs. Good morning, beautiful. Thank you for the mantis pictures. Who's your buddy? Hey, babe. Good to see ya. Brainless, the Brainless Steel. Howdy from Texas. Let's see. John Hudson is here. Good morning, John. Also in Texas, I believe. Scott Duke is in the house. Hello, my friend. Hello. Sapphire Light, formerly known as Fade to Gray. Who knew when you faded to gray, eventually you became Sapphire Light, but I love it anyway. It sounds like a excellent progression to me. And as you continue to evolve, keep us notified. Yes. I got WhatsApp for the Lion Crew, then the Jimmy thing, and the app is useless. Yeah. I'd rather leave Littlefoot tracks. Oh, I got big old feet. Sorry, I'm a female Sasquatch. Hail Nero and Bree, and hail all the beauties and bees from my unfinished journey. Good morning. Yes, I'll eat. That covers pretty much the donuts. So yeah, thank you. No, it's good morning. It's good morning. It's a little chilly this morning. Only 45 degrees here, which is as cold as it ever got in the winter. It's kind of funny, but there was some rain that rolled through, just a little bit of rain, and then I was like ecstatic because I haven't seen rain in forever, which is weird. It's not something I'm used to missing. Like when I lived where there was rain, I hated the rain, but now that I don't ever get the rain, I miss the rain. So it's funny how that works. I imagine I'll feel the same about the snow too. But a week of driving in the upper Midwest in the winter for the week of a heavy snow, it wears you down real quick. You get tired of it real quick. The whole landscape is white and bleak with ugly gray patches, and yeah, it's not a good look. But yes, I know the magical feeling of that first light snow drifting down. It's beautiful. But Littlefoot has a long neck and therefore eventually much bigger than a Sasquatch. Yeah, Littlefoot will be bigger than a Sasquatch for sure. He eats all his tree stars and grows big and mighty, but we've watched like 14 films and he hasn't grown any. His size maybe varies a bit between film to film, but he never grows. He will never be big. He's like the Simpson kids or the Family Guy kids. He's like Stewie Griffin and Maggie Simpson, forever a baby. Well, today, announcement. Okay, CrypticCorner. There is way too much going on Friday nights in that, well, it's a 6 p.m. time slot here, but it's an 8 p.m. time slot elsewhere, and then I tried to move it to a 10 p.m. time slot, but where are you at? That's telling me it's time for CrypticCorner, but I've decided to move it to the to midnight Eastern. So it'll be midnight Eastern, that's 11 Central, 10 Mountain where I am, and then 9 Pacific. So with that in mind, it's going to be like a midnight monster special most of the time, so that's pretty cool. But I will be able to go into Ben's trivia night more often. I will be able to pop into the side chat when, because I looked last night when I was doing the premiere, and there was like 6 channels going live. I'm like, why am I trying to compete with a premiere in this time slot? So I went ahead and just decided to move it on back to be a late night stream for something for people to do late night. Because yeah, I'll get an audience then. It won't just be me sitting there talking to myself. Because and wishing I could be someplace where stuff is live, right? So yeah, we're gonna do it that way. Anyway. I guess it's time to move into Cryptic Corner. I'll see you over there. Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome back to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore entities of the unexplained, the supernatural, paranormal, and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. Yep, I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee, and on today's episode, we are going to be crossing the line between Sasquatch and fairy, because only the most magical of Sasquatch can get to the island of Hawaii. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I hope you are all doing good. I did see you this morning over there on Sci-Fi Saturday, Dave. Good stuff. And I want to clarify that, yeah, I won't be switching the time slots for Live from the Hive. It's just going to be the time slot for the premiere of these episodes of Cryptic Corner, which are carved out of Live from the Hive and then published independently as to allow for archiving of each episode on YouTube, so people can watch each episode of Cryptic Corner without having to watch the full Live from the Hive 3-hour stream, because Cryptic Corner is only about an hour usually. I've been really good about keeping it right around an hour. So it generally runs like, yeah, the shortest that I think I've seen in the last 6 months was maybe 45 minutes. And then the longest one I think ran close to an hour and a half, because it was a big topic. But, you know, it's always at least going to run about an hour. So having little hour bite-sized pieces of Cryptic Corner to watch independently will continue, but the premieres for those episodes will be moved to a midnight Eastern time slot. So you will not have to worry about missing out on it as long as you catch it here on Live from the Hive on Saturday mornings, chilling in the library or sitting at home. It matters not. You will still be able to enjoy the show. All right, so I want to thank everybody for coming into to hang out in the live chat here, but let's jump right into the topic. All right, so today we are visiting the islands of Hawaii, and Hawaii is I mean, it's not exactly known for its cryptids, but we're going to see what they have to offer up. This is probably the largest cryptid in Hawaii, though, even though it's a small creature. And we're going to have Uncle Perry tell us about it. Let's see. I'm going to let Uncle Perry describe his channel. It's only a minute long, but you can kind of see where we're going. Howdy. Mm-hmm. No sound? Okay. What the hell? Thank you.
Howdy, y'all. How in the hell are you? I'm Uncle Perry. I scarinate stories about ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, pretty much
Sorry about
anything and everything
Glad we cut
weird,
it quick.
strange, and paranormal. I write almost all the stories I narrate. However, I'm open to narrating your stories too. If you've got a good, creepy story, I'm the one to tell it. Either send it to me in a comment or send it to my email that's in the description below. I write, narrate, film, edit, post, market, and even compose some of the background music. I'm a scary one-man band. All right, enough chit-chat. It's time to sit back, grab some popcorn, turn out the lights, and let's get creepy.
Yeah. The Ember says Hawaii has a ton of creepy critters. The night marchers are super interesting, in my honest opinion. The thing about Hawaiian cryptids, they're almost they go more along, and we're gonna see that with the Menehune today. They go along more like it's very similar, in my opinion, to like Irish fairy lore, but yeah, yeah, he's a guy.
Difficult to
hold
verify.
on, let's see. We're gonna start. Are they real? Menehune, cryptid mystery of Hawaii.
On a secluded vacation in Hawaii, Sarah and Tom were captivated by the island's beauty and the tales of the Menehune, mythical, small-statured people said to be master builders that work under the cover of night. One evening, curiosity got the better of them, and they ventured deep into the forest, hoping to catch a glimpse of these elusive little fuckers.
Elusive little fuckers. I like that. Let's start using that euphemism in our daily conversation.
As the moon hung low in the sky,
I'm going to go out and I want to see a Gila monster while I'm out here in the Chihuahua Desert, but there's some elusive little fuckers. I'm with it. Let's do it.
they came across an ancient stone wall, perfectly constructed but mysteriously incomplete. It was a Menehune construction, abandoned at the break of dawn, falling in line with the legend. Thrilled, they decided to camp nearby and see if the Menehune come back. In the dead of night, Sarah awoke to faint sounds, tiny footsteps in the mud, and
So, gnomes, right-handed Sith said Hawaiian gnomes or dwarves. They're sort of, they cross, they toe that line between wild man, like hairy hominid, and gnome or dwarf. Yeah, dwarf's a good example too because they build stuff. They're super into construction. Perfectly constructed, but it's just a pile of rocks in a row. Is it a perfect pile of rocks? Tropical dwarf activity. They are a lot like dwarves. and again, I call them hairy hominids because that's just some versions of the depictions. A lot of versions also depict them as, just little people. So.
And the soft hum of distant voices. She quietly nudged Tom awake, and together they peeked out of
That was a really nice tent they were camping in there. Damn.
their tent. There, in the moonlight, they saw them. Dozens of Menehune, no taller than 2 feet, working diligently on the wall. Fascinated, Sarah leaned forward, snapping a twig underfoot. The Menehune froze, their eyes locking onto her. Instantly, the forest grew silent. That's when she
Why
knew
did you make them so sexy? And give them, and not give them any sort of Polynesian features. This is just a white guy with a tan. Stable diffusion web, of course it is. Yeah. But I'll use an AI engine, but if I do make something with AI, you bet your ass I'm going to be manipulated it and photoshopping it. I would not have left this guy's face like that. I would not have left these people in the background blurry like that. I would have done something different with it, I guess. Yeah, Hawaiian boys lift. Them's good looking dwarves. Exactly. Child labor. Those aren't dwarves. They're a bunch of Ewoks. I wish they looked more like Ewoks and less like Mr. Hawaiian Tropic contestants.
Instantly, the forest grew silent. That's when she knew she fucked up. According to the lore, anyone who spies on the Menehune while they're working is doomed. But they didn't know this.
Okay, native atheist, I'm going to ask you right now, if you're going to be posing for model pictures, wear the t-shirt, wear the Jersey Devil t-shirt. And if you want a t-shirt, actually, you know what? Ad drop. Get your Cryptic Corner t-shirts. The Cryptic Corner t-shirts. Get them while they're hot. They're always hot, though. You will look so fashionable in a Cryptic Corner t-shirt. You know you want one. There's actually, it says 4 here. There's actually 5 because we have the spring special design, which is the Fresno Nightcrawler. And if you want to know what that looks like, you got to go check that out. All right, back to the show. Ads. Doing my own ads.
The couple's heartbeats quickened as the Menehune vanished.
Well, a good-looking dwarf has a nice beard. That's the thing, yeah? Yeah? I like Thor and Oakenshield. I like his... run my fingers through that beard.
Vanished, leaving behind only the deafening silence of the night. The next morning, some villagers found the couple still by the ancient wall, turned to stone, their expressions frozen in fear. The Menehune had turned them into twin stone pillars standing on the wall that can be seen to this day.
Let's see them.
The Menehune had ensured their secrecy.
I don't think that was them. Those were statues. I want to see the stone pillars. They got turned to stone pillars. Why didn't you show us a picture of it? Is there a picture of it? Is it real? No. Thorn is my daddy. No, you got it wrong. Definitely, I'd stand Mr. Oakenshield. If you're gonna blame him for the dragon sickness thing, then we're gonna have words, because that's not something a dwarf can control. And there may have even been one of the rings in that gold hoard causing Thorin to act the way he did. So I don't want to hear it.
Would remain intact, just as the legend warned. In the heart of Hawaiian mythology, the Menehune stand as some of the most intriguing.
Well, I mean, I thought it was folklore about a real landmark, though. Hey, Sandy doll. So Big Zebra says no, it's folklore, but I'm thinking that if there's folklore about two standing stones on a rock wall, there's probably two standing stones on a rock wall for the folklore to be about. But speculation, of course, that could completely be fictional. Like Camelot's not a real place, you know. But even Camelot though is based on the idea of like Alba. So
intriguing and enigmatic figures. These tiny little shits are said to inhabit the deep forest.
Okay, so we have elusive fuckers and tiny little shits. Yeah. So like Gila monsters are not tiny little shits, but they are elusive fuckers. So there's elusive little fuckers, but they're different in that way. Apparently there's just a rock wall from what I can find. You know, Ember's out there sleuthing. Maybe it's like the pillar of salt they find near Gomorrah in the desert, right? That would be cool. Yeah. Do you all remember when it was inspiring philosophy that really kind of blew it up? Where like, oh, they found the ruins of the city of Sodom where it got struck by a meteor. It's like, okay, no. Yeah, what color are your eyes? Is that a good question to just leave on there for a couple of weeks? I want to find out whatever color everybody's eyes is. Because I've been told that my green eyes are super rare. But I know a lot of people with green eyes. But that's because I mostly have lived around white people that I'm related to. As I'm moved out of my homogenous Midwestern culture, I've noticed that there's a lot more brown eyes in the world, and there's so many different gorgeous colors. I love them. So what color are your eyes? You tell us.
And hidden valleys of the Hawaiian Islands, rarely seen by human eyes. They're described as stout, muscular, and standing between 2 to 3 feet tall, with darker skin, low foreheads, thick eyebrows, and eyes that give them exceptional night vision.
So
some are said to be as...
Maybe show pictures of what you're actually describing, though. Like, I know you're using like stable diffusion, but you can describe the character with thick eyebrows, because this guy doesn't have... None of these guys have thick eyebrows, right? Or large eyes they have for night vision, low foreheads and all that. None of that. This looks like just a version of a Polynesian. This one does look more Polynesian, for sure, than the previous one, but it doesn't look like a dwarf. And check out the right arm on this guy. Is it going down the guy behind him's pants? Is that what's happening here? Because either it turns into his loincloth or he's got his hand shoved all the way down this dude's pants. Am I seeing things? Is that what we're seeing here? And then the other guy's arm disappears. So, yeah. This is why I say if you're going to use AI, you know, I know there's a lot of people that, it uses this much energy and stuff, but so does everything you search in a search engine. Anytime you type anything on the internet now, it's running through an AI. You can't avoid it. The only way you can avoid using AI is to avoid using the internet, because you can't even use a search engine. You type something in Google, the AI is scanning it through. Yeah. A double recessive gene, really? And my eyes are like hazel green too. So if I wear the right colors, my eyes will turn blue or gray. And if I wear when I wear a yellow color or a red or a warm, because I say warm colors, it makes the yellow flecks in my eyes really pop. So I have like yellow green eyes. Really cool. Yeah. Did the guy consent to have that hand shoved down his pants? I don't know.
Them exceptional night vision. Some are said to be as small as 6 inches, small enough to fit in the palm of your hand.
6 inches. So 6 inches to 3 feet. That's a good height range. He says he's 3 feet, but he's only 6 inches. That's kind of what you can anticipate.
The Menehune are skilled craftsmen and builders, possessing remarkable strength and dexterity, despite their small stature. Hawaiians believed they could call on the Menehune to complete construction work overnight, paying them with 1 shrimp for each Menehune. They're obviously not union. The Menehune...
Shrimp, though, I work for shrimp too. I'll build you a little rock wall for shrimp. Yeah, but I'll need more than 1 shrimp. I'm not 6 inches tall. I'm gonna need give me a shrimp basket. Endless shrimp would be good. Or you want to grill up some shrimp, you can sit there with the grill, and I'll even even like put on a bikini or something for you. And build your rock wall in a bikini. Would that work?
Menehune are known for their nocturnal nature, emerging only under the cover of darkness to construct their works with incredible speed and precision. Their craftsmanship is unparalleled, with creations scattered across the islands as silent...
See, the Hive is a lot like Menehune, right? Look at them all out there wanting to work for shrimp. You got trees and ember. You got big zebra. Y'all wanna work for some shrimp? You got all my muscles out there.
Testaments to their existence. These little guys are said to live in caves or primitive tent-shaped huts of sticks covered over with banana, fern, or other leaves, rather than the traditional plated thatched Polynesian home. Their favorite foods were bananas, fish, taro, and sweet potatoes, and they were known for their love of games and...
That's what the native Hawaiians ate too. What a coincidence. Some of that stuff that the Hawaiians brought with them when they colonized the islands. So, which leads the question, did the Hawaiians bring the Menehune with them when they came to Hawaii, or did they migrate independently? And if they migrated independently, what did the Menehune eat before the taro and all that was brought to the island? Red Lobster is being drained by pirate capitalists. No, I'm not fond of seafood. I eat some once or twice a year. I love seafood. I could eat seafood every day, but it's expensive. Yeah, I think Red Lobster is definitely still in business. I still see ads for them. You know who else is still in business? Steak and Shake. You know who we should help not be in business? Steak and Shake. So don't need a Steak and Shake because they're freaking MAGA. I mean, am I allowed to call for a boycott of a of a business? Boycott Steak and Shake. They actually said drive your Tesla down and get some tallow fries because, oh my gosh, they innovated cooking their fries in tallow, something that like McDonald's came up with in the 50s. So, or not 50s, 60s, I think it was. Anyway, in the middle of last century. We'll just go with that. Yeah, good riddance to them. Good morning, Navy.
Sports.
Navy.
They also enjoyed dancing, singing, and archery.
Yeah.
But not all 3 at the same time. In Hawaiian mythology,
dancing, singing, archery? Yes, please. I wanted to get into archery as a kid, but I don't know if I just wasn't any good at it or didn't have the discipline for it. My brother got more into it than I did. We both got bows for Christmas one year, though. What about you guys? Do you all do archery?
Menehune hold a special place, symbolizing the ancient connection between the land and its earliest inhabitants. Some early scholars hypothesized that
Ember, what about the prions, though? Because I imagine if you ate a Menehune, you'd have the same kind of effects as cannibalism. Actually, if this was a real creature, like a real a real entity, a real race, a real species. It would be some. It'd have to be some kind of species of. It'd be a different subspecies of Homo sapien, right? It would have to be, because it would have. I mean, if it's not, there would have been. We'd have some other old world genetic lineage that left enough traces of civilization that they were building seafaring or seaworthy vessels, right? So, if the Menehune, if I was going to put this into a speculative evolutionary time frame, it would be a descendant from Homo erectus that also colonized Hawaii, maybe thousands of years ago before the natives arrived, and there was just a relict population on the island when the first Polynesians arrived, and they either wiped them out or bred them out, whichever. I do shoot, but just air rifle and air pistol. Taught my daughters archery. Cool. I'm a decent shot with a bow. Look at the trees. I'm not surprised. You also do my big passion when I was younger, when my brother was really into archery, was throwing knives. I'm actually really good at the twirling and stuff with throwing knives. I can bluff my way into looking like I'm a badass with knives, and I'm really just doing like old timey baton stuff with them. It's just knowing when to sharp and as. What if they were Denisovans? Yeah, Denisovans or Homo floriensis. That one's always hard to say. The Hobbit people that lived on the island of Flores. And then you have the things like the ring of Pindic, which people think is also related to that. So, yeah, something like that. If I had to speculate. I was very into archery, also a Renfair kid, so double influence. Oh yes, like longbows and stuff, huh? Did Hawaii ever nail that invasive pig problem? I know they were working on it. No, pigs are almost impossible to eradicate, but Menehunes are apparently not too hard to eradicate. I shoot instinctive with no sights or on a recursive bow. Yeah.
Hawaii was first settled by people from the Marquesas Islands, who were later driven into the mountains by Tahitian invaders around 1100 AD.
No, it's Floresensis is how it's spelled. There's Flores and then Ensis. Yeah, because it's like named after the island of Flores. Floresensis.
Tahitians referred to these first settlers as Menehune, meaning lowly people, or literally translated, it means those lacking spiritual power.
Hold on just a second, because I do want to say, yeah, throwing axes are satisfying and a lot easier than throwing knives. I shouldn't say throwing. I had tomahawks. They weren't like a matching pair or anything. I had two different tomahawks, but I had definitely more throwing knives. But the thing about throwing knives is you gotta get your shot. It's gotta be a fine point. Whereas with a throwing axe, you got a whole curved, weighted surface that you can hit anywhere.
Over time, these displaced people came to be known as the Menehune. The Menehune evoke both admiration and fear. They're respected as helpful builders, but also feared as tricksters who can either assist or hinder those who piss them off. This dual nature.
So big zebra. When it comes to invasive insects, we have done that with mosquitoes. We've genetically modified there was GMO mosquitoes released in Florida and Texas a few years back. We should follow up on that though.
Adds a layer of complexity to their character, making the Menehune a fascinating subject in cryptozoology. The Menehune's presence in Hawaiian culture has captivated generations, weaving a sense of wonder and mystery into the landscape they inhabit. To encounter the Menehune is to step into a world where myth and reality blur, where the ancient and the mystical intertwine in the shadows of Hawaii's lush forests.
Who would like to intertwine in the lush forest of Hawaii with the Hive? Let's go to Hawaii. We'll do a Hawaii special, y'all. We'll do a fundraiser to send me to Hawaii. And we will go look for the Menehune. Who's in? Who's in? Let's go. Let's go on an adventure. Let's go on a tropical adventure. I don't need a whole herd of you though, because I know just a handful of people for my research team. So let's do it.
The lore of the Menehune is deeply woven into the fabric of Hawaiian culture, embodying both the history and the mystery of the islands. These elusive critters are central figures in many Hawaiian legends, often depicted as master builders with extraordinary skills, capable of constructing complex structures in a single night. The Menehune are said to work tirelessly between dusk and dawn, disappearing before the first light to ensure their activities remain unseen.
Unseen by who then? Is it just unseen by people? Because that's a adapted nocturnal behavior, which generally we see in a lot of large predators, in areas where there's not humans, things like wolves and even big cats will hunt day and night, but where there's humans, they only hunt at night. So I'm wondering if the Menehune are supposed to have done this after the Polynesians arrived, and if so, what happened to all their structures and stuff? If they're so into building and they've been living there for thousands of years, then shouldn't there be tons of Menehune structures all over the islands, cities of them that we should be able to see?
They are supernatural stoneworkers with a deep connection to the west side of Kauai, Hawaii. The stories of the Menehune, passed down through generations, add to the rich tapestry of Hawaiian mythology. When the first Polynesians arrived in Hawaii, they found dams, fish ponds, roads, and temples, all attributed to the Menehune. Some of these structures, like the Alikoko fish pond in Kauai, still exist. A lava rock wall between the pond and the Hulia River, which is 900 feet long and 5 feet high, was built to create a dam across a portion of the...
That jelly donut's been freaking calling my name. I just been eyeballing. I'm at some point you're going to have to bite that jelly donut and let it squirt in your mouth. It's delicious. Nom, nom, nom. Look at that. All right. Usually you have to go to my OnlyFans to see content like that. You're welcome.
River in order to trap young fish until they grew large enough for the community to consume. This lava rock wall, estimated to be 1,000 years old, is an unexplained engineering achievement. For parts of the wall, workers would have needed to work underwater. The stones they used came from Makaweli village, 25 miles away. Thousands of Menehune stood shoulder to shoulder and passed the rocks fire brigade style to the wall. Alicoco fish.
How is this not colonialist? Calling it? They're not colonists. Colonialism saying, "Hey, brown people couldn't have built this stuff." It's the same thing with like the pyramids, or Machu Picchu, or any of that stuff. All built by supernatural powers because the people who lived here were too dumb to do it.
Pond was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1973. The cultural significance of the Menehune extends beyond their role as builders. They symbolize a simpler, more harmonious time when the land was inhabited by those living in balance with nature. The Menehune are portrayed as peaceful, shy, and industrious, working in secret to create beauty and order. Their legacy reminds Hawaiians of humility, hard work, and respect for the land. The impact of the Menehune on Hawaiian culture.
It is really cool that the Hawaiians were able to build that to build that dam, right? I'm like down with that. Yeah, they carried those stones 25 miles. That's not outside of the realm of humans. So I don't know why you need supernatural powers to do it.
Culture is profound, influencing folklore, art, architecture, and social values. Structures attributed to the Menehune are sacred sites, and no bullshit, over 20 temples and other structures credited to the Menehune are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Necker Island, part of the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, contains 52 archaeological sites with 33 ceremonial heiau, basalt upright stones, and stone artifacts similar to those in the main Hawaiian Islands. Anthropologists believe Necker Island was a ceremonial site, with legends stating
really cool.
It was the last known refuge for the Menehune before being chased off Kauai by stronger Polynesians. Visits to the island began a few hundred years after the main Hawaiian Islands were inhabited and ended a few hundred years before European contact. 11 upright stones of what are believed to be the original 19 are still standing. A historic irrigation ditch near Waimea on Kauai, also known as the Menehune Ditch, was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1984.
The Menehune Ditch.
Hawaiians built many stone-lined ditches to irrigate ponds for growing taro, but rarely used dressed stone. The Menehune Ditch, predating the 1000 AD Tahitian migrations, features 120 cleanly cut basalt blocks, which would have required precision tools and techniques for cutting that line about 200 feet of the ditch. The legend of the Menehune remains a powerful force in Hawaii today, speaking to the enduring mystery of the island.
So let's look at this Menehune Ditch thing real quick, because most of the information I have on the Menehune is related to this ditch. The mysteries of the Menehune Ditch in Kauai, Hawaii. Kauai's west side is a place where most visitors don't spend much time other than the usual tracks and cruising the Napali coast. Having grown up here for generations, we at Makana Charters want our guests to get the most out of their visit to the sunny side of the island. You may have heard stories or mention of the Menehune, a mythical race of small people rumored to live on the island before colonization. There are strong opinions on both sides of the argument on whether or not they did, or I should say do, exist. But one place leaves clues that ignite questions about the subject. It provides evidence that this small tribe even had a hand in irrigation farming alongside the Waimea River. The Menehune Ditch would be easy to pass by if it weren't for the sign pointing to it and swinging bridge next door. The road to take, it is the same one as our check-in office on Alloway Road, which eventually feeds into Menehune Road. As you are crossing the river bridge, getting into Waimea, you'll see our office right in the corner. You take the road all the way until the pavement ends, where you will see a swinging bridge. On the post of the bridge is a sign pointing across the road to Menehune Ditch. You might feel a bit underwhelmed by this attraction, which is fair enough. It's hard to compete with the stunning vista of Waimea Canyon and the Nepali coast and all our gorgeous beaches. But the attraction here is more of a curious mind than a treat for the eyes. What you will see is a stone wall that looks very old, carrying water between itself and the cliff it runs parallel to. It looks similar to irrigation tactic to divert water to farms. Innocent enough, right? But then you see where the ditch leads. The tunnel is so small that even crawling through it would be tight. It looks like an ancient stone form of a metal culvert we use today. Who could believe that this small tunnel, who could build this small tunnel? Tools of the ancient Kauai were not advanced enough to drill that far into rock, and the water appears as though the walls were carved out by hand. Does it appear that it was carved by hand? I don't know. Could it be that the tunnel was built by a small race of ancient people who were able to assist in creating complex irrigation systems in ancient Hawaii? Or is there another explanation for why the tunnel was built so small? Either way, it's a fun way to spark curiosity and try to get people to solve the mystery. A plaque at the site gives more information. A plaque at the site gives more information. Kids love to swing the swinging bridge that crosses the river and horse watching from the bridge. So it even shows you where to go to see this. Yeah, but this is the alleged tunnel that was hand carved. I don't think it looks hand carved, but they think it looks hand carved. I think we're talking about some like periodolia here. But anyway, continuing on, because we're only 11 minutes in, we got 33 minutes
where the natural and supernatural blur.
Left of this episode.
Traditionally, tales of the Menehune were passed down by elders to younger generations, often during gatherings or around campfires. These stories embedded moral lessons, cultural knowledge, and respect for the environment, highlighting the importance of nature, hard work, and community cooperation, values deeply ingrained in Hawaiian culture. Sightings of the Menehune have been reported for centuries, adding layers of intrigue.
Now this is the part we've been waiting for, right? The sightings.
To the already mysterious legends surrounding these tiny folks. Though often fleeting and shadowy, these encounters have left a lasting impression on those who have witnessed the Menehune, further cementing their place in Hawaiian folklore. These sightings are in chronological order, revealing a fascinating twist that deepens the mystery of these badass little people. There are several reports of people finding small, childlike footprints creating a trail through their homes, going up the walls and even across their ceilings. Okay, that's a little fucking creepy. The earliest recorded sightings of the Menehune date back to the 18th century, when the early European explorers and missionaries arrived in Hawaii. These newcomers were told stories by the native Hawaiians about the Menehune, and some even had encounters themselves. One of the most famous early accounts comes from the journals of Captain James Cook, who visited the Hawaiian Islands in 1778. Cook's crew,
one of the original colonial, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. There's a word for it. These fuckers who went around the Pacific and Indian Ocean, claiming the land of the indigenous people as for whatever European power that they kissed the ring of.
recorded stories from the local people about small, nocturnal beings who lived in the mountains and forests. Although the sailors themselves did not report seeing the Menehune, they were taken aback by the consistency, sincerity, and the amount of the encounters they were told of by the natives. In the early 19th century, sightings of the Menehune became more frequent, particularly in the more remote areas of the islands. In 1820, a group of missionaries reported seeing small figures moving quickly through the forest as they traveled through the island of Kauai. The missionaries described the figures as being about 2 feet tall, with dark skin and a quick, purposeful gait. They noted that the figures seemed to disappear almost as soon as they were seen, melting into the shadows of the forest. This account is significant.
So, I mean, honestly, this could also be just a unique haplogroup that was part of the Hawaiian population before the colonizers came, and that maybe lived alongside the Tahitian population, or the Tahitian ancestor population, but had a unique phenotype or genotype, and maybe they don't exist anymore, but they would still be Homo sapiens, right? Even Homo sapiens sapiens, just a different haplogroup. It was different phenotypic expressions. There's like small statured people now, like the pygmy people of the Congo. I don't know if pygmy is the right word for it anymore. Sorry if that's colonizer language there. But yeah, Southeast Asia has some little small statured people. So,
not only because of its early date, but also because it comes from fellas who were typically skeptical of local superstitions and legends. Another notable sighting occurred in 1862 on the island of Oahu. A plantation worker named Kimo encountered a group of Menehune while working late at night near a sugarcane field. According to Kimo, he saw a line of small figures moving silently through the field, each one carrying a stone. When he called out to
that does work. Imperialist. Yes.
them, the figures froze, turned to look at him, and then vanished into the night, leaving behind only the stones they had been carrying. Kimo's story spread quickly among the plantation workers, many of whom claimed to have seen similar things over the years. By the early 20th century, the sightings of the Menehune had become a well-established part of Hawaiian culture. In 1904, a school teacher
Homo florensis. Yes, that's correct.
on the island of Maui reported seeing a group of small figures near the base of a waterfall while on a hike with her students. The figures, which she described...
I have to say the name of the island first, right? I have to say Flores, and then I can say the name Homo florensis. If I try to say it without, and I don't have to say it out loud. I can say it in my head, but otherwise I'll say florensis or something along those lines. Yeah, gotta tell myself the name of the island first.
described as no more than 3 feet tall, appeared to be gathering stones from the riverbed. When the teacher and her students approached, the figures quickly disappeared into the dense foliage. Despite the briefness of the encounter, the teacher was adamant that what she had seen was real, and her story was widely reported in local newspapers. One of the most compelling modern sightings occurred in 1944 during World War II.
Yeah, I mean, you're in right hand. Just say Egyptians showed that it's possible to saw clean lines in granite, limestone, and marble with copper saw and sand. They don't even need copper. Any stone that's denser than the stone you're trying to cut will do, if you have the right grade. If you have the right grade of sand. But I've seen the process. It's slow. It's slower than modern technology, but it still works. It's still there.
A group of soldiers stationed on the island of Kauai claimed to have seen the Menehune while on a night patrol in the mountains. According to their account, they saw a group of small, human-like figures moving quickly through the trees, carrying tools and building materials. The soldiers, who were initially skeptical, followed the figures for some time before losing them in the dense undergrowth. Despite their disbelief, the soldiers could not shake the feeling that they had witnessed something extraordinary. Their account was later corroborated by other members of their unit who had nearly identical experiences. In 1964, a Hawaii newspaper stated that an 11-year-old boy in Makaha claimed to have seen a Menehune. Now, when questioned by the school principal and a reporter, the boy said that he was watering the front lawn when he thought he heard somebody behind him. He turned and there was a short man dressed in a cloak and a helmet. He was about as tall as a mailbox. The principal asked the boy if he was excited. He replied, "I don't know what I was. He smiled at me, sort of mischievous, and then walked away. He had big eyes like a cat. He walked real slow. When he ran around the corner of the house, I got excited. I wanted to follow him, but he disappeared." The reporter explained in his article that the mother showed him 2 sets of footprints in the mud under a newly planted plumeria tree.
Those are inverted footprints. That's pretty wild. How do you... Maybe it's one of those things, if you look at it long enough, it'll turn inside out, but I don't think so. These just like inverted footprints to me. Like literally like somebody's buried in the mud with just the bottoms of like the soles of their feet sticking out, and they're also coated with mud.
Another set at the corner of the house, and 5 muddy footprints going up the wall across the picture window. What the fuck? Could the Menehune have been a youngster wearing a mask? No, the boy said, because he smiled and you can't see a smile with a mask on. When the principal asked the boy if he'd ever seen a real witch or goblin, the boy replied, "I don't believe in things like that." He was serious enough that the adults around him, including his principal and the reporter, were convinced that the boy believed he definitely...
What happened to his knuckles? I mean, I don't think this is the boy, but I'm kind of worried about this kid.
They saw a Menehune. In 1972, a group of camp...
They have... that makes sense. They have concave soles to walk up walls, to suction cup to walls. Aha! That does make sense. Brilliant. Brilliant trees.
On the island of Molokai reported seeing small figures moving through their campsite late at night. The figures, which the campers initially thought were somebody's kids, were seen gathering stones and arranging them in patterns on the ground. When the campers approached, the figures scattered, disappearing into the darkness. The next morning, the campers...
Why didn't they use their magic to turn them to stone? If I was a Menehune and I could turn people to stone, there'd be a lot of stone people around. I'm just saying.
Found the stones arranged in what appeared to be the foundation of a small structure, though no other evidence of the figures remained. A Menehune sighting occurred in 2003 on the island of Kauai, near the famous Menehune fish pond. A local fisherman reported seeing a group of small figures near the edge of the pond, working with stones and mud. The fisherman watched in awe as the figures worked quickly and silently, shaping the stones with their hands.
Why is him sad, though?
When he approached, the figures vanished into the surrounding forest, leaving behind only the partially completed structure they had been working on. This sighting, like so many more before it, left the witness with more questions than answers, deepening the mystery of the Menehune. The twist that emerged from these sightings is a consistency in the behavior and actions of the Menehune across centuries, despite the changing times and the growing skepticism of the modern world. In each account, the Menehune are seen working diligently, always with a clear purpose, and always disappearing as soon as they're noticed. This consistency suggests that the Menehune, whether real or imagined, are more than just a product of folklore. They are a living part of the Hawaiian landscape, interacting with those who are open to witnessing the extraordinary.
So you gotta be open to see them. Then that means... I've always had a problem with this line of thing. You have to believe in order to experience this. Which to me is like, I don't know, fake it till you make it. Because if you haven't experienced it, then you're believing it without evidence. And if you're experiencing it, then you've experienced it. So...
These sightings, while often fleeting and shrouded in mystery, provide a tantalizing glimpse into the world of the Menehune. They leave us with a sense of wonder and a reminder that even in our modern world, there are still things that defy explanation. Explanations for the Menehune vary widely. with skeptics and believers offering contrasting interpretations of this fuckery. The debate between these two perspectives
Fuckery. I like that word too.
has intensified over time, with skeptics relying on rational explanations and believers asserting that the mystery of the Menehune lies beyond modern science. Skeptics often view the Menehune as a product of folklore and cultural memory, rather than as actual beings. A common explanation among skeptics is the ancient inhabitants theory, which suggests that the Menehune were the original, small-statured people who lived on the Hawaiian Islands before Polynesian settlers arrived.
Yes, that's reasonable.
Over time, these early inhabitants were displaced and became mythologized as the Menehune. Skeptics argue that stories about the Menehune's nocturnal work and extraordinary skills are embellishments.
Well, we've seen this like pan out and be real in reality, right? In like was it Borneo, where the tribe of little people live, and the people are like, yeah, there's little people, little fairy people that live on that side of the island, and they go over there and there's just like little people that live over there.
Of historical facts passed down through generations. Skeptics also believe that the physical structures credited to the Menehune, such as the
It's one of the larger Sundarbans islands. I can't remember which one it is though.
fish ponds, temples, and roads, were more likely built by early Polynesians who had advanced knowledge of architecture and engineering, even though they never took credit for the structures. The stories crediting these works to the Menehune were, according to this view, created to add mystery to these ancient constructions. Another explanation from
Why do they have to take credit for it or even remember that their ancestors built it? Right? If you stop using something for a few generations and then you discover it, you may not know that, hey, great-great-grandpa's great-great-grandpa's great-great-grandpa built this. But great-great-grandpa might have known that. But great-great-grandpa's dead. So now it's a mystery. And you can attribute it to the fairies.
Skeptics is that the Menehune represent cultural symbolism, embodying values such as hard work, humility, and a connection to the land. In this view, the stories of the Menehune are symbolic, teaching lessons about perseverance and cooperation, rather than describing actual beings. The skeptical perspective is grounded in historical and cultural context, providing a logical framework for understanding the origin of the
Not logical.
Menehune stories. However, skeptics tend to dismiss eyewitness accounts, often attributing them to misperceptions or the power of suggestion. By focusing strictly on rational explanations, skeptics overlook the more mysterious aspects of the Menehune phenomenon, which continue to captivate many. In contrast, believers maintain that the Menehune are real, existing either in the physical world or in a parallel dimension. Many believe that the Menehune are supernatural beings with abilities far beyond those of ordinary humans. According to this view, their capacity to construct intricate structures in a single night, their ability to vanish without a trace, walking up walls and across ceilings, and their preference for working in secret all point to their existence as magical creatures who coexist with humans but remain hidden.
So you have to believe in magic to believe in that portion of the theory.
One intriguing theory among believers links the Menehune to Homo floresiensis, a small hominid species discovered on Flores Island in Indonesia in 2003. Some suggest that the Menehune could be a remnant population of Homo floresiensis, or a similar species that once inhabited Hawaii. This theory posits that ancient populations of small humans may have survived in isolated pockets, later becoming the basis for legends.
But they would have had to have been seafaring to get to Hawaii unless they came over with another population of humans, or another population of Homo, which is possible too, as like a another class in the society, as a distinct class within the society, or even as like a slave population or servant population, things like that. A labor population, that's kind of cringe, but it happens.
The believers' explanations embrace the mystery and wonder of the Menehune, allowing for the possibility that there are still unexplained phenomena in the world. The supernatural aspects of the Menehune stories resonate with human fascination with the unknown, adding depth to the legends. The connection to Homo floresiensis offers a scientific angle, suggesting a historical basis for the existence of small-statured beings. However, the believer's perspective relies heavily on anecdotal evidence, which is difficult to verify,
There has to be an explanation for how they would have gotten to Hawaii, though, because we don't know. We don't have any reason to believe at this point in time that the Homo floresiensis people were seafaring. There's just, I mean, not saying that they couldn't have been, but we don't have any evidence that they were.
The theory connecting the Menehune to Homo floresiensis also faces significant challenges, as there is no archaeological evidence to suggest that this species ever reached Hawaii, as of yet anyway. 3 prevailing theories exist regarding the origins of the Menehune. First, some believe the Menehune were a true race of people, as suggested by a census in 1820, where 65 folks identified themselves as Menehune in Wainea, Kauai. Historian R.S. Koikendall also concluded that the Menehune were humans, though no skeletal remains of a small race have been found on Kauai or other Hawaiian islands. Another theory, proposed by ethnologist Bruce Cartwright, suggests that a Hawaii lowboat may have transported the Menehune to Hawaii, where they became part of the local population. Cartwright posits that later arrivals, such as the Nanalu, interbred with the Menehune. Finally, there are claims that the Menehune are not mentioned in pre-contact mythology, and therefore the name does not refer to an ancient race of people. However, this argument turns out to be pretty fucking lame, as nearly all accounts of the past in Hawaiian culture are passed down through word of mouth from one generation to the next, meaning they didn't write shit down. Their word was it.
That is, and that's the way a lot of ancient cultures handed down their folklore. But what the claim here is that there was no folklore about the Menehune pre-contact. So, I mean, playing kind of fast and loose with the claim. Not that they didn't have written records of it, but just that there were no records of it, of people talking about the Menehune at all before Cook.
The explanations for the Menehune range from rational and historical to mystical and supernatural. Whether viewed as displaced ancient inhabitants, symbolic cultural figures, or supernatural beings with ties to the Hobbit people of Flores, the mystery of the Menehune continues to intrigue and inspire. The debate between skeptics and believers highlights the complexity of this legend, leaving the true nature of the Menehune completely open to interpretation. The Menehune hold a special place in Hawaiian folklore, embodying...
Ooh, that beach looks cool. It's like the black sand, like from it's basically lava rock ground of sand. But look at that little isolated cove. This guy out here, though, is going to get eaten by a tiger shark. Never be this guy if you go to the beach, okay? Because this is the one that the predators will target. They don't target the people that are in a group like this, right? Even if all this whole group was out here where he is, they target the isolated individual. Keep that in mind when you go to the ocean if you're worried about being attacked by predators.
The rich tapestry of myth, history, and culture that defines the islands. As master builders, secretive artisans, and guardians of ancient knowledge, their stories have been passed.
Is it artisans? I've always said artisans. Is it artisans? No way. Have I been saying it wrong all this time? I'd say artisan. It's spelled like artisan, not artesian. Artisan. Yeah, artisan. What? Artesian.
Passed down through generations, shaping the collective memory of the Hawaiian people. These tales are not merely whimsical legends, but reflections of deeper
and please bear with me because I say lots of things wrong myself, so
cultural values such as respect for the land, the importance of community, and the enduring connection to the ancestors who once walked these shores. The stories of the Menehune also serve as a bridge between the past and the present, offering glimpses into the lives of those who came before them. Whether they are remembered as ancient inhabitants, supernatural beings, or symbols of cultural identity, the Menehune remind us of the complexity and depth of human history. They illustrate how myths can preserve fragments of the past, blending reality with imagination to create a narrative that speaks to the core of who we are. Ultimately, the Menehune are more than
Are the Menehune well water, like, spirits then? Or like well spirits?
just characters in a story. They are a testament to the ways in which culture and history intertwine. Their legend continues to captivate and inspire, leaving us to wonder what other mysteries might still be hidden within the fabric of our world. If you made it this far, do me a huge solid. tap that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. That way, you won't miss out on more of my crazy-ass videos. And besides,
You do
I
have some
really
crazy-ass
appreciate it.
videos.
I've also got some kick-bucking-ass merch. The link's down in the description. I've got Scarinator shirts and tanks. I got Stay Creepy mugs, t-shirts, stickers, and all kinds of miscellaneous stuff.
Oh, hey, check this out. I got stuff too. Doo-doo! We have Cryptic Corner t-shirts. Cryptic Corner t-shirts are here. Get yourself a Mothman or Swamp Booger or a Jersey Devil. Collect all 4 designs, but there's actually 5 now, but only temporarily, because you can still get Dogman year-round, but you can never get Fresno Nightcrawler year-round. All right. Had to do a little ad there. Get your cryptid merch. All right, so that was Uncle Perry telling us about the Menehune and their tiny tunnels and ditches, and they dig through the ditches and burn through the witches because Uncle Perry looks just like Rob Zombie. The Menehune and his Dracula. All right, so what do you think about about this little slice of Hawaiian mythology, folklore, and cryptozoology? Is there something to it? Is this based on an ancient population of peoples that lived on the island that had distinct phenotypic traits that made them, they were smaller in stature than the people of Tahitian ancestry? Seems like people were identifying themselves as descendant from this group. Or are they fairies? Are they some kind of other species of Homo, of human that made it to the island? Are they some other kind of primate, like a Yeti? What are we talking about here? What are these creatures? Are they just fairies? Is this just fairy lore to explain structures built by ancestors that were forgotten? You tell me in the comments. Do you think they're elves, Navy? I think elves is spelled with a V, isn't it? I'm being all grammar Nazi today. Mostly because of the fluorescensis. Yeah. Anyway. This has been Cryptic Corner. Please remember to be kind. Take care. And we will see you next time. Obviously, this is the time of the show where I scream, "Don't go!" Because there's more show to come. This is just the first segment, the first hour of a 3-hour show. So, the first hour and a half of a 3-hour show, I should say. All things said and done with the intro and all, but we got more coming at you. So don't go anywhere. We are sticking around. We are going to Venus. We are exploring beyond the stars. Not beyond the stars. Closer to our own star, I guess is the way to put it. Regardless, I have to go pee because... coffee and all that stuff. I'm going to give you all a quick intermission, and I will be back momentarily. All right, hello, my beauties and bees, and everybody who stuck around to make it to this weirdest part of the week. We look at some weird conspiracies, and today we are looking at some cringy stuff, I guess. We are going to be dealing with more imperialist nonsense. Thank you for giving me that word that was escaping me. Imperialist. Aunt Jer, good morning. No, it was Sandy who gave me the imperialist word. Aunt Jer corrected the artesian word. But regardless, appreciate everybody who stuck around because we are going to get super weird. I couldn't find just one channel that gave me a long form of this conspiracy, but I found enough bits and pieces to kind of put together a narrative for us. So we're going to be delving into the Venusian origin theory. So we're gonna tackle the Mayans. Then we're gonna talk about just humans in general coming from there. Then we have the ruins, and we'll see how far we get after that. Not a lot of this. All of this stuff isn't necessarily related to that. There's just a whole lot about life on Venus and stuff here that I got to fill in if we run out of time, or if we get through this too quick. But I think we'll be all right with just these first 4 videos. So let's go for it. Let's dive right into some conspiracies about the Mayans. Spoilers, they were ordinary humans. And you all are just racist. No video, audio again? What is going on? Every time I switch screens, I have to reset the audio now.
The Maya civilization, despite its genesis in an ancient
annoying.
and primitive era,
Sorry, should be better
still
now.
holds many mysteries that remain unsolved about this culture. It's because the Maya managed to create achievements that are hard to fathom. Were they just ordinary humans, or did they come from another planet? The Mayan civilization emerged around
Oh no, I see you, AR. There's just a delay.
5,000 years ago in Mexico and Guatemala, nations bordering the Pacific Ocean in the Central American region. Descendants of the Maya still live in the tropical rainforests of 5 countries, including Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and Belize. Although they emerged in the Neolithic era, the Maya achieved great advancements in
It's weird to say they emerged in the Neolithic era. All civilizations emerged in the Neolithic era. That's not actually a time frame. It's temporally nebulous across the globe. Depends on where you lived. Whether you were in the Paleolithic, the Mesolithic, the Neolithic, the Chalcolithic, or the Bronze Age. There are civilizations right now that are still in the Neolithic. The Sentinelese population are still in the Neolithic. They use metal from like ships and shipwrecks and stuff. But yeah, concrete boogers.
astronomy, literature, mathematics, agriculture, art, and writing.
Hanging drywall. We'll get it wet first.
They built large cities housing impressive temples, palaces, and grand astronomical observatories. These constructions surpass the understanding of modern humans. How then can this be explained?
That they don't surpass the understanding of modern humans? Just because we don't understand exactly how they were doing it doesn't, or how they were how they were able to come by like certain knowledge and stuff. Like, you know, if you stack this way, it'll do this. If you carve this with this tool, it'll make it look like that. Just because us with our modern technology can't understand how ancient people were able to figure out how to do these things. It's like the sand saw that we talked about in the previous segment, which I guess I should bring up because this is going to be published separately. Like they used copper saws. Well, they were just like basically copper bars with lay sand where they wanted to carve their trowel in the stone, and that's how they would do it. They can cut a hole through a whole stone that way by pouring sand into the hole and rubbing a copper bar down through it, or anything harder than the stone really that you're trying to cut.
Welcome back to the channel Ancient Wonders. Before we start, don't forget to hit like, as it's a strong support to us. The Maya were highly skilled architects. The ancient Mayan civilization is incredibly mysterious and astonishing. Because this civilization emerged in the Stone Age, they likely did not know how to use metals like copper.
All civilizations emerged in the Stone Age, my dude. And the Mayans did have metalworking by the time that we got there. They did have metalworking, not to the same extent that the Eurasian and African civilizations did, but they did have metalworking. They even had cold casting copper in the Western world. So they did have the exact substance that we're talking about.
Or iron. Images of the wheel have appeared on their pottery decorations and other cultural relics, yet they were not implemented in daily life. Nevertheless, the Maya possessed
They understood the concept of the wheel, but the montane environment that the Mayan Empire and the Aztec Empire sprung up in was not conducive to wheel use. They didn't have the draft animals to make the implementation like they did in Europe with the horses. So, I mean, alpacas just aren't great at pulling. Well, I say alpacas. Alpacas weren't in Mexico anyway, but the only pack animal they had, as far as I'm aware, correct me if I'm wrong, were dogs, and their dogs were quite small. So the dogs could pull a flet. They didn't need wheels on it. The flet is just where it has the two sticks that drag on the ground behind it. A dog could pull that with a loaded flet, so it doesn't need. They didn't need wheels to navigate the rough terrain.
A highly advanced level of construction technique. They created a sophisticated urban civilization. Many roads, temples, burial sites, and massive stone steles were constructed by the Maya. These are all large architectural works with incredibly intricate carvings.
Okay.
In the remaining ruins of the Maya, the tropical forests of Yucatan or Guatemala still preserve vibrant colored drawings and patterns on crumbling walls. They also built other grand structures like pyramids and meticulously designed astronomical observatories that are no less impressive. Moreover, the Maya were
So why are you pretending that they were not able to do this naturally?
also excellent road engineers. Their cities were planned with an interconnected road system. The thoroughfares were extensive, making travel incredibly convenient. The architectural works of the Maya were built with massive, durable stone blocks. To this day, in the town of Tulum, there still stands a stone wall 716 meters long, 6 meters wide, and between 3 to 9 meters high.
Again with the, oh my gosh, they built walls. Ancient humans couldn't have built walls. Good grief.
One must concede that the Maya, even from the Stone Age, truly possessed abilities far beyond those of ordinary humans. This leads us to wonder where they truly came from.
Here
The
we
mathematical
go.
and astronomical
You knew this was coming, Hive. Here we go.
proficiency of the Maya. The agricultural foundation of the Maya civilization predominantly relied on corn as their staple food. There is no evidence of the use of livestock, donkeys, or sheep.
They didn't have donkeys. They're in North America. There were no donkeys in North America. Europeans brought donkeys over. There were sheep, but they weren't like those kind of sheep. They were like mountain sheep. And I'm sure they hunted mountain sheep. I'm sure the Mayans hunted mountain sheep. No doubt. They would have had to travel. They would have had to make a journey up there to hunt them. I don't think that the range of mountain sheep extends quite that far south, but they were definitely been trade routes and stuff, and they may have. I say definitely did, but they may have, because they had traders that went all the way up to the Navajo nations. That they had Mayan and Aztec trade routes that went up all the way up there. The traders were famous. So yeah, people from the Aztec and Mayan empires were traveling into northern Mexico where there were sheep, and there's no reason to believe that they wouldn't have been able to hunt and eat them at the time.
One might consider this primitive, yet surprisingly, the Maya had an advanced understanding of mathematics and astronomy.
Yes, we owe the Maya for the number 0, which isn't really a number, but a lack of a number, but, for the placeholder, for putting a placeholder for 0.
This paradox has led researchers to wonder if the Maya were extraterrestrial visitors who settled on Earth. Today's modern calendar...
We have a believer in the audience. Yeah, have a discussion about it. Let's do this. Yeah, who did build them if not the Mayans? And if they were built, what about them makes you think they were built by aliens? I'm interested. I'm super interested.
Is known as the Gregorian calendar, adopted by Pope Gregory X in 1582. A year in this calendar is precisely 365.25 days. Astoundingly, the Maya had this knowledge long before. They utilized a long count calendar based on the starting point of Mayan mythology as a marker, with each subsequent day representing a day in the future. Accordingly, a solar year in the Mayan calendar has 18 months, each with 20 days, plus an additional 5 nameless days, totaling 365 days. Their more accurate figure for a year was 365.242 days.
This is just astonishment that other people besides Europeans innovated part of our timekeeping. Wait till you find out where our numerals come from. Wait till you find out where the numbers that Europeans use originated. Because we don't use the Roman numerals, do we? We use those dirty Arabic numerals. Because for a long time, the Middle East and even China were the centers for mathematics, for science, for innovation and engineering. Just because Europeans didn't create all that stuff, right? I mean, we take credit for it as a culture, and like, we did this, we did that. Our math comes from the Middle East. Our understanding of so many engineering aspects come from China, including cuisine comes from China too. A lot of our food and our timekeeping comes from the Mayan calendar. Yeah, it's crazy just to think, it's European exceptionalism that when it falls on its face, people just get their mind blown and be like, wait a minute.
The discovery of a Venus calendar among the remnants of Mayan culture raises the question, does this confirm their extraterrestrial origin? For if they had lived on Venus, then they could have easily constructed a calendar for a Venusian year. In other words, could the Maya have originated from Venus? Or did they have some connection with this planet? Moreover, recent...
Oh man, I feel so much I'm making myself cough. Christ on a stick. Oh my gosh. Because their calendar, did the Mayans originate from Venus?
Studies on the Dresden Codex, the oldest book in the history of the Americas to date, reveal that the ancient Maya made a significant astronomical discovery over 1,000 years ago, known as the Venus Table. The astronomical information recorded therein is not mere numerology as previously thought, but a log of the star's orbits, a major discovery by the Maya of that era. What is fascinating here is that we're actually studying the scientific work of an ancient astronomer. According to anthropologist Gerardo Aldana from the University of California,
so when you say, look at the Mayan calendar, there's no way they could have. And I appreciate you being here, Navy. I always like when a true believer pops in my comments or in my site chat. I really appreciate it. That there's no way they thought of that, but we see that they have advanced observatories and temples built with star alignments and stuff. So they were very aware of the progression of the Earth through space, right, around the sun. They were aware of that. That maybe they didn't understand why, because for a long time we were like, why do the planets do this and the regular stars just do this? The planets do this and do figure eights. And we figured out that because we're all circling around the same heavenly body, which was the sun, but they didn't even have to understand that just to know that they were making those motions and that there was a pattern there and that they could build a timeline on that pattern. They could make a calendar based on that pattern, which goes to 365.25 day timeline as it circles as the Earth turns and as we circle the sun. They didn't have the internet to distract them. They didn't have their iPhones that they were busy looking at, or they didn't have any of that stuff to keep their wandering human minds occupied. So they looked out at the stars and they tried to understand and build a understanding of the world based on those stars. They probably only had that understanding after they got the logic.
the Venus table indicates that these ancient scientists tracked celestial movements from the ancient city of Chichen Itza around the years 800 to 1000 AD. New interpretations by Aldana suggest that the Maya recorded historical events as well as astronomical ones for future reference and use, a practice similar to that of the ancient Greeks and Egyptians. They preserved these documents over a long period, eventually discerning patterns within the data they compiled. Western astronomical history also relies on similar methodologies, he added. Through this, the Maya calculated the orbital cycle of Venus as 500...
It's so weird to think that the ancient Greeks, 2,000 years, or 2,500 years ago or whatever, 2,000 years ago, we'll go with that, 2,500 to 2,000 years ago, could figure something out that the Mayans couldn't figure, they couldn't, to make that claim that they figured this out 2,500 years ago, but the Mayans couldn't figure it out 500 years ago. It's just gross. It's like, no, ancient Greeks had to be smarter than these people because, you know, they're our ancestors. So they had to be.
83.92 days. To test these hypotheses, Aldana examined another Mayan archaeological site, Copan in Honduras. The Venus records here perfectly match the Venus table in the Dresden Codex. This provides further evidence that the ancient Maya tracked planetary orbits, treating them as historical and scientific records for future study. Not only that, they also used this information for special ceremonies. It appears that the Maya had citywide gatherings, conducting rituals based on the position of Venus. Aldana...
Most cultures had some sort of reverence for Venus. Even the people like laymen who see Venus in the sky get enamored of it because because of its position. It's the only planet that spins the way it does, and from where we are, it's the only planet that's readily visible on the inside of our axis of our rotation around the sun. So it's unique and it's also closer than any other planet, including closer than Mars, and it appears like it's the brightest star in the sky for most cultures, and it moved different and it was unique. People still call UFO hotlines and report the planet Venus as something supernatural because of all its little peculiar quirks.
Suggests we may have misunderstood the Maya. What we've found, pieced together, does not give us an overall perspective on the meaning of ancient scripts, nor the scientific discoveries the Maya made over 1,000 years ago. If the new information about the Venus table is completely accurate, then it proves that the Mayas' calculations were not just ordinary arithmetic. They were a significant scientific achievement based on their observations of the cosmos.
They didn't have telescopes, though, or paper. So you're making it weird with your AI art here. No telescopes, no paper. Their observatories were structural. So like it would be like a port that saw this star at these dates, and then saw this star at these dates. And yeah, and that's how they would line everything up. It wasn't loaded down with advanced telescope technology and scrolls and charts. Yeah, this is not. Wow. AI, get it together. I mean, and I said this in the previous video because the last guy was using AI too. I don't have anything against that, because I think that at this point in time you can't do anything on the internet. Anytime you type anything on the internet, it's running through an AI engine. You cannot Google something, you cannot search something in Bing, any of that without it running through an AI engine. Okay? So, yeah, the amount of energy AI uses sucks, but it's where we are right now, unfortunately. Regardless, if you use AI to make your art for your channel, because you're poor or what have you, at the very least, do the art present art that actually is going to be partially accurate, like this with these scrolls, and then the previous guy with the Magic Mike Menehune characters. It's just it's inaccurate. You can make the AI, if you're going to make the AI make the images that you want, then make the AI make the images that you want. Don't just be like, okay, I'll settle for this, even though they didn't have telescopes. We'll settle for that.
Research has also uncovered that the Maya knew and used the concept of the number 0 as early as the 4th to 3rd centuries BC. For example, in terms of time, the Maya had a unit called an araudan, equivalent to 240 million days. Such a colossal unit was used to measure distances between stars and to determine planetary positions. Therefore, the Mayan numerical system has been praised as one of the greatest achievements of humanity. And the splendid...
And yeah, it's one of the greatest achievements of humanity, of this indigenous population, and they're trying to like say, nope, aliens. It's just...
Architectural works in Mayan cities show that their knowledge of astronomy was by no means inferior to that of modern man. From this, one can see the astonishing intellect of the Maya, the unique script of the Maya. It is said that the script of the Maya is a text that cannot be typed out using modern electronic computers. This is due to the Maya's incredibly rich vocabulary, consisting of over 30,000 words, surpassing the capacity of any current keyboard. The Maya's writing system is a marvel. It comprises logograms and syllabic characters, a type of writing that combines the meanings of shapes with the sounds of language. The Maya knew how to use paper, typically made from tree bark or dried deer hide.
But
these materials were used to write books.
They did not have scrolls or tombs or any of this stuff. Oh, I could be wrong. Hold on. Wikipedia said they had paper. The Mayans made paper from the inner bark. That's what he's about to talk about. Certain wild fig trees, ficus, cottonfolia. Maya paper was durable and better for writing surface than papyrus. Yeah. Neat. Yeah, he's about to get into it. I was gonna eat crow on it anyway, but they I stand by the fact that they didn't have telescopes or scrolls or tombs, right? I'll stand by that. Someone wants to fight me on it?
Mainly recording history.
No, if you have evidence, I always concede. I thank you, AR, for looking that up. I don't want people to think I'm serious about that. I like to learn new things. That's why I do the show. I learn new stuff researching this. Yeah.
Scientific knowledge and various ceremonies and rituals. Other texts chronicled the social situations of the Maya of that time. In 1966, a carved stone stele of Maya hieroglyphs atop quarry was translated. Surprisingly, beyond what anyone expected, this was a chronicle of the Maya. According to the report, this chronicle records events from 90 million years ago. But from 40 million years ago, Earth was still in an era before the emergence of humans. How then should we interpret this? More and more...
Wait, what? I'll have to listen to that through again.
This chronicle records events from 90 million years ago. But from 40 million years ago, Earth was still in an era before the emergence of humans.
40 million years ago, you don't have to go back that far. You can go 3.2 million years ago. 2.8 million years ago, depending on where you draw the line on what the emergence of humans means. It's been definitely been in the last 5 million years though. But it's not. I guess it's just not that far out there for me to think that people have a mythology that runs that far back, because I'm like, I know about the Vedic text and stuff, which runs billions of years. Yeah.
How then should we interpret this? More and more mysteries about the Maya civilization are coming to light, particularly in the 9th century, when the Maya civilization suddenly vanished. There are many theories about this issue. Some speculate that if the Maya came from Venus, perhaps they returned there. Others believe that the sudden disappearance of the Maya is related to conflicts with the Aztec civilization. Considering the remnants in research, which theory about the origins of the Maya do you agree with? Join us again on Ancient Wonder for more fascinating history.
Yeah, so I don't think that the Mayans came from Venus. Let's see, though.
The planet Venus is traditionally known as Earth's evil twin. The second world out from our sun, it has scorching surface temperatures of up to and beyond 870 degrees Fahrenheit. The air is thick and choking.
Obviously, they came from Venus.
And as it consists mostly of carbon dioxide, it's a supremely toxic atmosphere. And yet, one theory has it that human beings may have originated from this very place. So how could that be?
In September 2020, news broke of a groundbreaking study of Venus. Led by scientists from Cardiff University in the UK, it found that in the Venusian clouds, high above the surface of the planet itself, there are traces of phosphine, a molecule that's 1 part phosphorus and 3 parts hydrogen. Back here on Earth, phosphine is a marker of life, usually found in anaerobic or low oxygen environments.
There you go. There's a poll for you guys to interact with.
All new debate about whether there's alien life elsewhere in the solar system, and whether Venus, Earth's hellish, uncompromising neighbor so often overlooked when it comes to potential alien homes, could be the place to find it. Importantly, the team behind the phosphine discovery haven't even begun to claim that their work should stand as proof that life exists on Venus. In fact, they've openly invited other scientists, astronomers, and researchers to find another
Hold on, it didn't go through. I'm gonna have to do the poll again. It's all right though.
Explanation for it. And we are dealing with a pretty tiny signature here, with only about 10 to 20 phosphine molecules per billion. Still, even at such a low concentration, and even discovered where it has been, about 30 miles above the surface of Venus, analysts all over the world are scratching their heads as to how it got there.
There we go.
And the presence of life, either now or in the past, remains a very active line of inquiry.
Yes, it took that time.
The idea that life could have existed on Venus in the distant past.
Yay! So this is, we're calling back to the phosphine thing, what I covered a long time ago. Let me see. It was, man, did I even make a video about it? Or was it just part of Life in the Hive at the time? Venus flytraps. I have videos about Venus flytraps from 2021. Anyway, I'm not going to dig too deep in it, but I covered this when it came out, talking about the traces on Venus of phosphine gases.
Isn't a totally new one. While Mars usually steals most of the headlines when it comes to planetary exploration, we've been quietly looking the other way to study Venus over recent decades too, and the theories about the second closest planet to the Sun are mounting up. In terms of the here and now, Venus doesn't have much going for it.
Yeah, I had to do it twice. Like when I hit submit for the poll, my whole screen went like, we lost the signal. So I had to refresh. And then, yeah, here we are. But to take something as simple as base elements and saying, this means, the Venus flytrap should have been on the list, damn it. I didn't even think about that till afterwards. It would have made the list too. Like Audrey too.
Temperatures more than 450 degrees Celsius, crushing pressure, and a 96% carbon dioxide atmosphere mean that it ranks as one of the least hospitable places we've ever tried to get close to. And we have tried. In the 1970s and 80s, various Soviet Union probes attempted the perilous descent onto Venus, with varying success. But even those that did actually...
Most of this Venusian conspiracy stuff does tie directly to the Venera space missions from the Soviets.
And on the surface, only lasted for a short while before they were destroyed, with the still record time on the ground set by the Venera 13 probe in 1982, which endured 127 minutes before it succumbed. NASA has also landed on Venus with the Pioneer project in 1978, but most of everything else we've tried with the planet has been limited to orbiters and flybys. The Soviet spacecrafts Venera 15 and 16 orbited in the mid-80s, relaying back vital information to suggest a total lack of plate tectonics on the planet. Then, NASA's Magellan mission in the early 90s more extensively mapped Venus, helping us to determine that its surface was relatively young, probably between...
Mapped Venus, you say? Ooh, sounds fun. Let's do it. Map of Venus. And all its different stuff. There you go. We can zoom all the way in. You want to see what Diana's Chasm looks like? Yeah, we're going to dive right into Diana's Chasm. Chasma? Anyway. And there's the mountains. There's Hali, which is a crater. See the crater? But, so there's lots of places we've mapped on the Venusian surface at this point. Pretty cool. Anything that says Mons on it is a mountain. Name origin is from Maglesi, water goddess. Yeah, so Faravari, Mons. But most of the people that have these conspiracy theories say that the civilizations were in the southern hemisphere. So somewhere down here, there should be some lost cities. Look at all the cities and roads. See all these roads? Yep, there's a runway. Here's a city. Yep, definitely a city, guys. A Venusian city.
500 million and 800 million years old. By now, we were forming a picture of Venus as a dead planet, but also as somewhere that might have once been more alive. In more recent years, that picture has become more detailed. The Venus Express was a European Space Agency mission operating for more than 9 years, between late 2005 and early 2015. Again, it studied Venus from afar, but this time with something else in mind as well.
That's not Venus.
Climate change. As we've come to realize that Venus, as we know it, has been choked with carbon dioxide, showing a runaway greenhouse effect, soaring temperature extremes, and generally nightmarish conditions, there's an argument that it is what Earth could become if global warming continues here unchecked. A key finding of the Venus Express mission, however, was further reported evidence of past oceans on the
I love how the votes are 100% octopus.
planet. Today, it's a scorched and poisonous place, but long ago it really might not have been. As the excitement surrounding Venus grows, then, there is a dedicated mission moving around the planet as we speak, with the JAXA probe, Akatsuki, in orbit since 2015.
Yeah.
So
I'm a graduate of Mud Fossil University, so...
very much a case of watch this space in terms of more news coming from this particular region of the solar system. Nevertheless, it remains a big leap from suspecting that life of any kind might exist, or might have at one time existed, on Venus, to saying that human beings might have lived there before they lived here. And yet, the suggestion has been made before now. In September 2019, almost exactly 1 year before the 2020 discovery of phosphine, a team from NASA's Goddard Institute released details of a study wherein 5 simulations showed how Venus might have evolved with different degrees of water coverage. These sims, built on what was, by 2019, our fairly solid belief that Venus did once host oceans, only it imagined that those oceans could have continued to thrive. In real life, we know that they didn't. We know that
What was the chemical composition of those oceans, though, is the question.
happened around 700 million years ago to trigger what's been called an outgassing of CO2, and thus the runaway greenhouse effect we know has now taken hold. Take that outgassing event away, though, and all 5 of the Goddard Institute simulations suggested that Venus would have been able to maintain safe, suitable temperatures for life to exist. No one's too sure what caused Venus to become clogged with CO2.
It's not just temperatures, there's chemical compositions that take into consideration too.
But if it hadn't, then it really might have been like a twin world to Earth, a place very much like it with only slightly higher temperatures, on account of its closer proximity to the sun. When scientists and astronomers analyze far-off star systems today, they often speak of the Venus zone, meaning a close band around a star where the planets inside are suspected to be unsuitable for life. But if Venus is only so inhospitable because of a chance event, the outgassing that no one's really sure on a reason for, then perhaps we shouldn't be so quick to write off Venus zone objects in our search for alien life. One key aspect when analyzing an alien world is, can it maintain liquid water? And according to the Goddard Institute, if history had played out differently, then Venus might well have. So what are the chances?
At 450 degrees Celsius, I don't know about liquid water. I guess the idea is that if it had water, the planet would be cooler, but it's still closer to the heat source of our solar system.
Is that human beings could have evolved there as they have here. On the one hand, the human species can be seen as simply the result of the right chemicals and conditions and elements being present at just the right time. Modern humans have only been on Earth for 300,000 years or so, although our evolutionary ancestors had been around for much, much longer before then. Regardless, even 300,000 years is but a blip in the grand scheme of the universe.
That monkey turned into a white man.
And it only represents a very small percentage of the time that Venus has been around for, which is about 4.5 billion years. If then there's an argument that the conditions on Venus now are what Earth is en route to experiencing, then there could also be an argument that Venus might have previously hosted the same or very similar conditions as Earth does today. In which case, what's to say that humans wouldn't have developed too? Well, there's one main argument against that having happened. It's just so incredibly, incredibly unlikely. Developments including the 2020 phosphine discovery continue to show that the prospects of life in general existing elsewhere are high, with the majority scientific consensus being that...
Yeah, I mean, statistically speaking, well, I shouldn't say in our solar system, but definitely in the universe, that's orders of magnitude larger that there would be life elsewhere. It's pretty much an inevitability, right? Like, statistically speaking, numerically.
That there is alien life out there. We just haven't found it yet. Venus has never really been at the forefront of our search for life because it's so hostile, but that view is slowly changing. Now, it no longer feels beyond belief that alien life of some type could have at one time survived there. But carbon copy human beings? Probably not. Even if the Venusian conditions were once closer to Earth's, the planet's entire timeline will have had to have mimicked Earth's almost perfectly, which it can't have done because all of this will have had to have happened at least a few 100 million years ago, sometime before the carbon dioxide-inducing outgassing that cast the planet into ruin.
I would say billions of years ago, because a few hundred millions of years ago, you're like saying, hey, maybe Venus was a habitable Earth, like what, the Mesozoic? That there was life on Venus during the Mesozoic? Nah.
Just as most theories indicate that alien life anywhere isn't likely to look all that human, despite what the movies suggest, if alien life was found on Venus, or found to have existed in Venus's history, there's really no telling what it would be like. The chances of walking, talking, recognizable humans just so happening to evolve on the planet next to ours, out of the billions of other planets out there, are then absurdly low, with or without phosphine molecules being discovered in the Venusian clouds of today.
They should have been octopi, octopodes, octopussies.
What do you think? Is there anything we missed? Let us know in the comments, check out these other clips from Unveiled, and make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for our latest content.
Cephalopods come from Venus. All right, here we go. This is incredible cities discovered on the southern hemisphere of Venus. Let's do it. It's a long intro for a 3-minute long video, friends. Space anomalies. Yeah, I don't think there's any audio with this at all either. I think it's just picture images. So put your Mud Fossil University hat on, because we're gonna have to accept some pareidolia. There's the southern hemisphere of Venus. What is this? Is that a mountain, a road, a temple? Oh my. What are these lost cities in these pixelated images? Clearly they're squared up. They're not square. They don't have squared edges because it's pixelated. They have squared edges because they're man-made or handmade buildings. Yeah. You guys believe that, right? Good morning, everybody. See more people popping in now. Good morning. Nice to see you, fam. Yeah, I guess that's the notion that they're going with here, is that if it has square edges, it's alien architecture. Okay, Bree, DM me on Discord or Facebook. You still want to do the Squids and Friends Clade you mentioned before later this month or in May? Yeah, we can do that. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat, though. Thank you so much. You rock, Vandalia. Oh, and Kip's here. Good morning, Dr. Kip. We are learning about how if you look at a planet from space and zoom in, you see square edges. It is alien architecture and not pixelation, and they are definitely Mayan structures, because Mayans, if you missed it, Mayans came from Venus. Yes. This is not, yeah. That isn't even squared edges. What is this supposed to be? Why is this aliens? And maybe that's an alien city. These pixelated square. Okay, I can see the pixelation now. Just took me a minute. Pixels are aliens. What about? I wish there was. I hate to say it, like, if you're going to claim that this is something, do the red marker thing. Something to show me what I'm supposed to be looking at to be impressed by. Oh, that's the White House right there, that pixel. And these are credited to NASA. Enhance. Yeah, you can just keep enhancing it. It never pixelates. That's how it works. Oh, I gotta do the outro thing again. Good grief. A third of your video was your intro and outro.
The ninth unsolved mystery of the world, the ancient city ruins on Venus, mysterious civilization in space. A Soviet unmanned spacecraft captured a series of astonishing photos on the surface. Astonishing photos. I just painted my crow's food with Momofuku chili oil. Now none of those stinking squirrels will get into his bowl. Oh, cause the birds don't have that caspaceous. Another word that I'm going to struggle with this morning. Caspaceous. Not just. That's just what's coming out of my mouth. Capsaicin. Yeah. But the squirrels can. And the Sumami can, but she probably likes it. She said she's a freak like that. The plant spent all those evolution points on making itself burn the mammal's mouth, and you're just lapping it up. Of Venus, revealing that around 20,000 cities once stood on this planet. These cities have now all collapsed into ruins.
Caucasian. Capsaicin.
I've been struggling with words today. I've been having a hard time wording today.
Scattered across various corners of Venus, resembling
Carpathian, yeah. Peppers have Carpathian in them.
an immense puzzle that leaves one speculating about the kind of civilization that once existed on this planet.
It shows like
Analysis
Sim
indicates
City.
that these ruins are remnants of ancient cities, suggesting a highly advanced technological civilization that has now vanished. The environment on the surface of Venus is extremely hostile, with temperatures exceeding 500 degrees Celsius, 932 degrees Fahrenheit,
So bring a little fan with you, those little hand fans. You'll be all right.
violent winds, and sulfuric acid rain that can erode any structures and life.
That is a problem.
However, the destruction of these cities does not appear to be the result of natural forces. Many scientists
Because there were no cities, right? That's the joke. Yeah?
have become intrigued by this enigmatic civilization on the planet Venus. Some speculate that these cities might have been constructed by life forms native to Venus, while others believe that these cities could be traces left by extraterrestrial beings on Venus. Nevertheless, these claims lack conclusive evidence
Or any evidence whatsoever, unless you're talking about these pixel pictures. They keep talking about these Russian discoveries that don't ever show
to
you.
support them. The ancient city ruins on Venus raise numerous questions and continue to be shrouded in mystery, leaving people both intrigued and astonished. We eagerly await future scientists who may unveil the veil of this mysterious civilization on the planet, bringing more surprises and discoveries to humanity.
Hi guys, welcome back to Mysterious and Discovery channel. Today, I will share the story of what happened to ancient
This is the first one I found. This will be the last one we cover, but it's pretty short.
civilizations that lived on Venus billion years ago. Now, let's start. We all know that Earth is the only planet in our solar system where intelligent life exists, but some people seriously believe that life can be extraterrestrial. Most often, not only science fiction writers, but also scientists make an assumption that life is likely to be on Mars.
Well, I think there's the idea that life may have at one point existed on Mars in some form, but there's no evidence for it, just other than that they think that the environment of Mars at one time would have supported life.
Actually, scientists have put forward theories that billions of years ago, Venus was also populated not just by some organism.
So this is not Venus. This is the face on Mars image, which is not actually a face. It's just a play of the light on some mountain peaks, but
by an intelligent civilization that was smarter than humans. Back in 1996, amazing images were taken to the NASA Center by Venus radar mapper. This small spaceship was sent to Venus precisely for one purpose: to explore this planet and learn more about it. This probe took a huge number of images of Venus' surface, and
that's not Venus, that's Mars. Stop.
Until today, these photos have made scientists scratch their heads. There were photos that depict a winding canal with a length of more than...
That's not a canal, that's a canyon. I don't even believe you that's on Venus anymore because you keep showing me Mars. 600
kilometers that resemble a fragment of ancient rivers that evaporate like the atmosphere of Venus itself. Nevertheless, a study of the soil of this planet shows that these channels were created much later than the rest of the relief of the planet. Some researchers generally put forward fantastic theories and say that these channels are nothing more than rocks that were created.
The canals are on Mars too. Why are you talking about Venus?
Not by nature, but some kind of civilization. Some experts believe that intelligent life and even a whole race could once exist through Venus. Researchers have long proved that once Venus was very similar to our
And that's true. Venus was a lot more like Earth before its outgassing
planet. Even later, scientists again took pictures that depict a silhouette of the most real pyramids and a structure resembling the Sphinx, as in the Egyptian Giza. Scientists saw the same pyramids on the surface of Mars and the Moon, so it is possible to compare on this structure and say that on this planet there once existed an intelligent race, perhaps even the same one that was built the pyramids on Earth and then flew.
That's the same race that built the pyramids on Earth, so humans. You're claiming that humans built pyramids on Mars, Earth, and Venus, which is there's no evidence for either.
To other planets. The past of the most beautiful planet in the solar system. Already in our time, in 2003, another probe sent to Venus confirmed during the study of reliefs and soil that earlier, this planet had been covered by a huge ocean and in an atmosphere that almost evaporated, traces of helium and nitrogen,
Venusian outgassing, yeah.
as well as other elements were found that previously had been met only on Earth. Even more, the atmosphere of Venus contained a lot of carbon dioxide, which probably came as the result of the activity of not only the human bodies, but also almost all living things on Earth.
So, okay, since they have carbon dioxide, it means they had life, because we exude carbon dioxide, I guess. Okay.
Therefore, it can be argued that in the presence of water or other constituent components, highly developed creatures had previously lived on Venus. Maybe they were like us, or maybe they were much smarter if they built pyramids on different planets. Until the end, it is not known exactly who lived on this planet, but scientists can say for sure that its part is very similar to the present Earth.
All right. Yeah, we're going to cut this segment off here. The rest of these videos are more about just like other theories of life, not a civilization. So we're going to stop right there because I wanted to focus just on the Venusian civilization. We may do life on Venus at some point, just life in general. But I just wanted to focus on just getting the civilization elephant out of the room first. But I wish it gave us coordinates for these secret cities, because I can't find them anywhere. Yeah, where are your ancient ruins? I need to find where your people live. I want to be where the people are. The people who live on Venus. And if I find them on this map, I'm going to show them my map of Earth. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's that was Venus, this Lost Civilizations of Venus. Hope that was entertaining for you all. And do you think that there was ancient life on Venus? Do you think that that aliens or even humans came from Venus? Do you think the Mayan civilization came from Venus? Let us know in the comments down below. You missed the poll, but you can go down there and tell us all about it, because our poll, by the way, came back 100% octopus. 100% of the people in the Hive believe that octopus came from Venus. Not really, though. They didn't have a choice, but they had humans, Mayans, and octopus. So, yeah. All right, so that ends our week in weirdness. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, and as I said at the end of Cryptic Corner too, don't go anywhere, because we got more coming up. We got the thumbnail coming up. If you clicked on this because you wanted to see what we're covering in the thumbnail, then if you leave now, you're going to miss it, because we're talking about the migration of monarchs and some of their anatomy here in Breeze Bestiary coming up in just a moment. I'm going to take a brief intermission, and then we'll jump right into those butterflies.
as you're born that make you feel small. By giving you no time instead of it all. Till the pain is so big you feel nothing at all. A working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be. They hurt you at home, they hit you at school. They hate you if you're clever and they despise a fool. Till you're so fucking crazy you can't follow the rules. A working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be. When they've tortured and scared you for 20-odd years, well then they expect you to pick a career. When you can't really function, you're so full of fear. Say the working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be. Thank you very much, folks.
Whew. Hello, my beauties and bees. Welcome to Bree's Bestiary. And today we are diving back into the world of insects. So, sorry, I'm out of breath. Whew. I just ran down the block to see if they delivered my coffee to the wrong address. Blah. I need to get this sorted, though. I think Grubhub might just have our address weird, because anytime we ever order from Grubhub, there's always some kind of problem with the delivery. I put a note on there to say, hey, look for the number on the side of the house instead of what your GPS is telling you, but people don't listen. But anyway, it is the beginning of April, and this means that somewhere in the mountains of Mexico, the monarch butterflies are beginning their migration. So, today, to celebrate that, or to commemorate that, whichever way you want to look at it, we are going to watch some science about it. Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that. That's what it looks
the
like.
trees are like made of butterflies.
Oh, so beautiful.
I knew this would be amazing, but I didn't know it would be this amazing.
That was me a couple of months ago on a mountain in central Mexico.
And this is from PBS, incredible. By the way.
Hey, smart people, Joe here. Nearly every monarch butterfly in North America, tens of millions of them, flies to these mountain forests each winter. Not gonna lie, one of the most amazing sights I've ever witnessed.
Look at that.
It was not easy to get there. I had to fly on a plane, drive in a car, ride a horse, and hike to get up there. It's like 10,000 feet above sea level. But the only things those monarch butterflies needed to get there was their wings. And some of the coolest freaking navigation biology I've ever heard of. Millions of times.
I was Russian, but it wasn't there. I mean, that's to say it wasn't delivered. The neighbors might have been like, oh, there's free coffee on our porch. Let's drink it, which is cool too, I guess. If I went out there and found free coffee on my porch, I'd be like, yeah, let me have some.
Tiny orange compasses with wings. Yeah, this is totally going to change how you look at butterflies.
It's okay to be smart.
The monarch butterfly migration is one of a kind. It's totally unmatched in the insect world. It's more like the migration of some birds. I mean, we're talking distances of up to 4,500 kilometers each way north and south. But there's one big thing that makes this migration different from what birds and other animals do. It actually takes multiple generations of butterflies to do it. And as you're about to learn...
That is the craziest part, that they have to remember they have to have the genetic compass in memory for their particular generation. We'll get into it.
That's what makes it so amazing. Our journey starts in spring as monarchs make their way north. It's a leapfrog kind of journey. Each generation flies, mates, lays their eggs, and ultimately dies as it passes the baton to the next generation. Now, a typical adult monarch only lives for 2 to 6 weeks, so it takes 4, sometimes 5 generations to make the trip north. The fading light of summer marks the end of their northern migration. Shorter days and cooler temperatures.
This is super amazing, though. Rest in peace, Gerald, the butterfly that I kept alive for 2 weeks. For a week 2 years ago. Sometimes I raise painted ladies. I might raise some painted ladies in here. Usually I just like let them flutter around my room when I'll get like a fruit tray or something, or some beetle jellies for them to eat, and they just kind of like do their thing. But eventually I'll let them go. But I don't think enough painted ladies are native here. They're native where I was from, so it wasn't a big deal for me to let them outside once I was ready for them to take that next step of their journey. But if you all want to help me raise butterflies, let me know and we'll order some.
Prompt female butterflies to lay a special generation of eggs. When they hatch, the caterpillars that emerge are very different from their parents. They'll grow up to be part of a super generation. These super generation butterflies will fly all the way to Mexico in a single generation. Now, most things about a monarch's life, metamorphosis, migrating, mating, are controlled by hormones, chemicals in their bodies that...
Most things in my life are controlled by hormones, too. I feel ya, little butterfly. R.I.P. Gerald.
...signal different activities. Super generation monarchs make less of one special hormone, and this essentially prevents them from aging. They live about 8 times longer than other monarchs. I mean, think about that. Same species, totally different lifespan. Like one of us living past 400.
Well, I mean, when you look at tarantulas, the males live 5 to 7 years. The females live 30 to 40 years. So in invertebrates, that's not necessarily that rare, right? The female black widow spider can live up to 5 years, whereas a male usually only lives one season, or I shouldn't say season, one life cycle, I guess. Once one mate lives to maturation, mates and dies.
The super generation also develops differently as adults. They're bigger, they can fly farther, and they can't reproduce. Okay, but here's the thing. How does a bug with a brain the size of a sesame seed know it's supposed to go to a tree in Mexico, thousands of kilometers away? And how does it find its way to a place
Epigenetic memory.
it's never been? Luckily, my friend Jason was in Mexico with me.
My name is Jason Goldman.
And he is literally the perfect person to explain.
All right, let's give Jason the floor.
I'm a science journalist on a wildlife and conservation beat, but before I started doing journalism, I was a scientist, and I studied animal cognition. So it's really remarkable that these insects, with like 1 million neurons in a brain the size of a sesame seed, can get from the northernmost parts of North America 2,000-3,000 miles to these forests in Mexico, relatively accurately and relatively effectively. Absolutely blows my mind. Almost every biological organism has some kind of an internal clock. In humans, our roughly 24-hour cycle tells us when to wake up, when to go to sleep, when to eat. Monarch butterflies actually have 2 internal clocks.
One clock inside their brains is called the circannual clock. It keeps track of annual cycles. It's what tells them it's time to pack their bags and head south for the winter.
You're supposed to be Science Channel and you're trying to convince me that monarchs have bags. Come on now.
Other clock is the key to their navigation.
There's very few animals that we know of that really have a true mental map. Monarch butterflies, they don't have a route to follow, but they do have a heading. What we do know is that they have a compass in their minds.
It's a solar compass that tells time. Let me explain. Monarch's main navigation trick is reading the horizontal position of the sun. But the sun moves from east to south to west throughout the day. So
you're going to think of butterfly brains when you eat sesame seeds from now on?
To keep pointing yourself in one direction relative to the sun, you also have to know what time it is. Only butterflies don't wear wristwatches, so how do they do it?
Or pack bags.
Or remember earlier how Jason said that monarchs have a second internal clock?
Monarch butterflies actually have 2 internal clocks.
Well, I always thought that butterfly antennae were just like long, skinny.
I used that the monarch at the beginning of my intro toggle. Hold on. It's this.
Time to pay the piper.
Yeah, that scene.
Noses, but these antennae do way more than just sniff. My buddy Phil Torres was down there with me. He's a butterfly expert, and he blew my mind when he told me this.
So that antenna is telling them what time of day it is. And then they use the information from their eyes and the location of the
Ooh, hello. What's your name?
sun to then orient to the right direction.
Are you kidding me?
Orient
That's
to your
incredible.
directions, babe. No. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. It was
That's how humans navigated at sea for like 1,000 years using advanced tools and mathematics. And these butterflies are doing it with pinhead brains. Okay, keep it together, Hanson. Let's break down how this sun comes.
That's what I'm saying. Keep it together, Bree. Butterfly scientists are hot. Who knew?
Say your internal clock tells you it's mid-morning. If you're supposed to be heading south-southwest, then the sun should be on your left. If your antenna clock tells you that it's late afternoon, the sun should be on your right.
Girl, you know it.
Special cells in your compound eyes can even find the sun on cloudy days using polarized light. Pretty genius navigation system. Scientists have actually tested this by putting monarch butterflies in flight simulators and then watching how they orient themselves.
And just so you know, when they do these experiments, the butterflies do not survive this. They've literally glued their exoskeleton. There's no way out of this.
These monarchs
Same thing when they do the experiments on mantises. Just to let you know.
Spend all winter here in Mexico, basically hibernating, living off stored energy.
Can I spend my winter in Mexico with that scientist you just had up a minute ago? We can watch butterflies together, maybe.
But as spring arrives in these mountain forests, their internal seasonal clock tells them it's time for the super generation to leave. And something changes in their bodies. That hormone that they didn't have that kept them from aging, they start making it, and they become reproductively active. Very reproductively active.
Yeah, that's why I want to go to Mexico.
They begin their journey north, tracking the sun again. Their inner compass somehow flips direction. Sadly, in a few short weeks, every one of these super generation butterflies will be dead. But not before the females lay the eggs that will become the next generation.
The cat next
carry
door
on this
came to
great
visit.
migration. What
He
makes
got
this
nervous and
so
left. The BB's cat came to see if I was still doing my show or not. He wants my attention.
incredible to me is that the butterflies that journey south are reading a map passed down from great-great-grandparents who died half a year before they were born.
It seems like it's almost magic, but the truth.
Not that this guy is like ugly or anything. I just thought the other guy was like super hot.
Is that these skills are written into their genetics, and since the genetics get passed down generation to generation, of course these behaviors get passed down with it. Even if each individual generation doesn't need those skills, eventually one of them will take advantage of it.
There's evidence that monarch butterflies have been making this journey for millions of years. It's an instinct, a behavior that's built into their body. Their sun compass, their antenna clock are written in their genes, an unbroken chain of
So
DNA
amazing.
stretching back millions of generations. But there are still more mysteries to solve.
And we'll see if this gets yoinked. I hope it doesn't. 'Cause it's PBS, but it wasn't like on PBS.
It's not enough for the butterflies to know where they're going.
Some other channel
they
is
also need to know
publishing
where
it.
they are. And we don't know what makes them stop here in this Mexican forest. And if we want to solve that mystery, we need to make sure the butterflies keep coming back.
We're on the lookout for a very special plant.
Milkweed.
Where is it? This is it. This is it right here. This is milkweed, a native milkweed. This is the plant that the butterflies need to lay their eggs on. This is what the caterpillars will grow up eating in order to make the next generation. And if we're lucky, yes, a monarch has been here and laid an egg. Preserving the monarch migration is about more than just preserving that forest in Mexico. It's about preserving.
So I want to say that, like, okay, so I watched this Spec Evo channel called The World of Kappa. It's about a world that was seeded with turtles, right? Like, they do seeding different plants with different organisms. And they're like, oh, you know what? We're going to seed it with turtles and monarch butterflies. And then they listed all the other stuff they're going to seed it with, and they never mentioned milkweed. So I'm like, if you don't seed it with milkweed, you're not going to have any monarch butterflies. So, yeah. No, this is from a show that was before SciShow, that predates SciShow, called "It's Okay to Be Smart."
Preserving plants
they don't
like
make
this,
anymore.
places like
I don't
this,
think he's even with it
flowers
anymore.
that give them nectar to fuel that migration. It's about protecting more than just a behavior. It's about protecting a habitat that stretches across an entire continent, and that's something that we can all play a part in. Gives you something to think about, and maybe something to chew on. Stay curious.
Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Studying a migration this massive is really hard. I mean, we just figured it out a few years ago. I mean, it took like half of the 20th century for scientists to just figure out where monarch butterflies go each year. Now, you can follow me over to the Atlas
This is from
Obscura
5
YouTube
years
channel,
ago.
where we tell the story of how scientists found this place in Mexico and what it means to the people who live there.
And I almost watched this thing instead, but then I was like, you know what? This one's only 10 minutes, and the other one was like 45 minutes.
Atlas Obscura is the definitive guide to the world's hidden wonders, and this definitely qualifies. And if you're wondering what it was like to be there, well, grab a headset or a Google Cardboard. I need one. Where are they? Well, grab a headset or a Google Cardboard or your phone, because we made a 180 VR video inside the butterfly forest. So beautiful. You're gonna love the rest of this story. Stay curious.
All right. So, yeah, that was the monarch butterfly migration and how that works and functions. And it's really cool to think about passing down genetic information through generations that won't need that until they do, until there's a trigger. It's just the same thing with like grasshoppers turning into locusts, because grasshoppers and locusts aren't two different things. A grasshopper turns into a locust when the population gets too high, when there's too many grasshoppers within so many feet of each other. It triggers them to have a epigenetic metamorphosis. And there's things in humans that do that too. I know because I inject some into my hip once a week. So, yes, hormones can trigger epigenetic responses, and hormones can be triggered by environmental factors. So, yeah. Anyway, this has been Bree's Bestiary. Please remember to be kind. Take care, and we will see you next time. All right, Hive. That is our show for today. I hope you had fun. Hope it was fun. We had the Menehune from Hawaii, little fairy people or maybe an ancient species of human, apparently. And then we discovered lost civilizations on the surface of Venus that may or may not have been the origin for the Mayan civilization. We wrapped things up with some butterfly migration. So that was a good show, I think. I'm pretty happy with it. If you have any questions or concerns about the way I'm doing the show or any suggestions, please just drop them down below. Hope everybody keeps coming back, though. I love seeing all y'all out there in the live chat. And we had a little bit of a smaller turnout this morning because Chris cut out early for Sci-Fi Saturday. But yeah, which is fine. I'm not like I did this show for years before I even did Sci-Fi Saturday, but yeah, I've been doing getting about 35 or so people in here, and it's just been a little slower this morning. Which, yeah, I'm not complaining. I love that anybody shows up to listen to me talk about this stuff. But as I said at the beginning of the show, we are moving the premiere time slot for CrypticCorner to midnight Eastern, and I think I may start making it a regular thing at that time to be in the Hive Sci Discord chat room, so you all can talk to me verbally too, and we'll watch it in there as well. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I got this Boston cream donut to finish eating, and I barely touched this coffee because it wasn't sweet enough for me. I'm such a baby. And why is that over my eyebrow? And yeah, and I think I got to clean the pool a little bit too today. But I will be around, so yeah. Be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time.
This shit, bro. Oh hell no, no, man. Hey, bro. Hey, bro. Fuck all that. Hey, Prime. Fuck all that shit, bro. Man, fuck, hey, fuck all, hey, Prime. Up, hey, you got me, fool. You got me, right? Bro, what's up, bro? Hey. What the fuck? Yeah, hug me. What the fuck? Hug me. I want you to hug hey, what? What's up? Man, what the fuck that? Hold on, bro. I think he got a knife. Not Prime. Shit. Shit. Damn. Damn.
With all the noise, pseudoscience, and political rhetoric clogging the airwaves about transgender people, it can be difficult to understand what's really happening, and what's really true. Good news, everyone! Welcome to The Transpositions, your compass in the rugged landscape of transgender issues. Here, we strive to be the beacon of authenticity, providing a platform that amplifies the voices and experiences of the transgender community. From breaking news to in-depth features to breaking down the real science, we are committed to fostering understanding, empathy, and empowerment for all individuals across the gender spectrum. Join us as we navigate the complexities, celebrate the triumphs, and advocate for the rights of transgender people worldwide. Together, we can redefine boundaries, challenge stereotypes, and champion inclusivity. Subscribe today. The link is in the description.